Now then, Barrett-Jackson 2024. I've been coming to Barrett-Jackson since their second year. I don't know what that was, 40 years ago, something like that. It's huge. It's just absolutely monstrously huge. Goes a week. I don't go into the auction house. Don't care to see the auctions, better watch it on TV anyway. Now the thing about Barrett-Jackson, why I originally came there, I'm a classic collector car kind of guy, cars from the 30s, 20s, 40s, like that. I like them original or restored, and Barrett-Jackson has turned into a muscle car, performance car kind of thing. The dealers bring out their next year's editions. Everything is retro mod, everything is 1970s Mopar muscle car. The kind of stuff I like, I'm better off going to make them. They have more of what I like. Sotheby's, they have more of what I like. But there is a lot to see here. You know, it's a fabulous exhibit. And mostly, I'm just going to show you and not flap my gums. What I was saying, I don't go to the auctions. First of all, you'd be nuts to buy a car at Barrett-Jackson. You're going to pay about a 40% premium if you buy a car here. Be fun to try driving it, huh? The newest BMWs. What's this one over here with a map? That looks like a Corvette. A lot of custom builders here too. So you see things that they'll do. Yeah, prototype. Spiffy. And the cute young things in Scottsdale area get gigs at these places, you know, to have a pretty girl by the car. You have to be blonde, I think. Seems to be some kind of rule, you have to be blonde. But they make pretty good coin. There are a number of different events, and once they get into that circuit, they'll get called up and get a week's worth of money out of the thing. This entryway here is not what I come for at all. I could do without this. But you have to walk through here to get where you want to be. I see they're still pushing Ford Bronco over there. You can go 100,000 on an original 70s Ford Bronco like that one there. They're fading away from popularity right now, but they have been incredibly popular. And so this is a custom build. How's that? $309,000. And if you're trying to decorate your garage, because you have that kind of money, you'll have a good start. Now straight through here is the auction hall where we're not going. Mostly people go in there so they can drink all day and bid on cars and, you know, rub elbows with the rich. I was selling a car once a few years ago, and Barrett called me, asked me if I wanted to put it up on the auction block. And by the time he was done telling me all of the fees they collect, I said, why don't I just give you the car plus another $50,000 and we'll call even. It's incredible how much they charge to sell a car here. So there are two places to view cars. The indoor hall, and it goes on and on. You know, if you shot a rifle bullet, it would probably fall to the floor before it got to the end of this tent. But I go outside first and look under the big tents. That there is the auction stage. They got a bunch of who knows what. important people or self-important people. All right, outside now, much better. You get the vendors out here, and they're doing everything. They're selling built engines, they're selling suspensions, they're selling, you name it. There's something for everyone. A lot of that right there, that entire area dead ahead is McGuire's, so they're selling all of their car care products. And you can find some interesting stuff here. If I was somebody that liked a goodie bag, I could easily fill it up with the free samples that they give away here. But all those tents you see way over there, that's where I'm heading, because those are all the cars that I want to put my eyeballs on. But I have to get to the far area first, so I'll walk through the vendor area and see what we have today. Like I said, McGuire's, I don't need anything there. I use just ceramic coating on my paints, so don't need that. There's another Bronco 302 5-liter. So popular, but they are fading from popularity. It's been going on for years, and these things are very faddish. Sometimes they're 1950s Thunderbirds. So here's a fuel injector company, aftermarket, more detailing product. They have these Prevo buses. You can go in and look around. You know, that's $1 million. There we go. Civilian ownership, $400,000. How'd you like to pull into your local Kroger? It looks like a Ford. It is a Ford, that's why. Not a newer one at that. In fact, that's several years ago. But here, it's the military. Laser guidance. Oh, that's a monster. Oh, that's the Army. Usually the Marines have something like this. These guys are recruiting. That's exactly what they're doing here. They're recruiting. And the Marines usually have a big boombox truck set up, and they do this kind of stuff. Get the young guys involved. Once more, decorate your garage. Your garage. When's the last time you saw one of those old Corollas? When I was in high school, we used to tear those apart in an afternoon. And what you always expect to find at any car show is a helicopter by Airbus. Because if you had any idea the kind of money that is here today, you'd know why they're selling helicopters. It's a cute little thing. It's not very big. I have 50 hours of flying time in those. Since I'm a fixed-wing pilot, but I was going for rotor at one point, and it just got to be so incredibly expensive on my own nickel. But I did my long cross-country solo in 50 hours total. 52 MGTD, I had one of those. You're going to hear me say a lot. I had one of those. I used to have one of those. I wish I still had one of those. You're going to hear a lot of that. Down this far, we're not going to go all the way down, but you can go down there and you can race around a track in a professional race car with a professional driver, and it's a lot of fun. People like it. No charge. So now finally, after I've worn out my sneakers, I'm at the far end of the outside tents. These cars are all for sale. They'll be going up on the auction block. Here's your chance to preview them. Or they're not going to be auctioned, and it's your chance to call the owners and do some negotiating. So got all these tents now. It's go see what we have. These, sometimes you'll see they have, because this is Thursday and this started, what, 5 days ago? So a lot have been sold already. They leave them out here still on display. And that's good because this is how you keep current on values. So a couple of Camaros here, older Camaros. This one went for $40,000. This one went for $63,000. Super Sport there, $110,000. I had one of those, not a convertible. $47,000. $24,000 for a Ford Bronco, but that's a newer one. Carmen Ghia, the poor man's Porsche. Very desirable now. They've gone way up. I've missed some really good deals because I was holding out for lower prices, and I probably shouldn't have. I missed the convertible in good condition for $8,000, and it was easily a $20,000 car. So this will probably bring, it's mighty clean. It'll probably bring about $15,000. So these are called square trucks, the older Fords and Chevys, and they're highly desirable right now. So $22,000 for this old Ranger. It's not even a full-size truck. They're just square box. They're popular. Another car in Ghia, comparable to the one we just saw. Looks like it went for $14,000. Here's the car that's bringing the money. Anything that's Mopar from the 70s. So a Challenger like this, a Charger. This is a Charger. A Charger like this. The birds. There's another Charger right over there. We'll walk around and see it later on. You know, you can get up to $250,000 on these things. GT500. It's popular, but they were popular 30 years ago, so their value isn't that high anymore. That's probably about a $35,000. Some people think they have something special, like this Mercedes, and it's nothing special. It should be on Craigslist. But they bring it here hoping that the big money buyers are going to be stupid and give them a high price for it. Nice old Plymouth Satellite, went for $23,000. How many of you had these at driver's training in high school? Roadrunner with a 383. Looks like it's restored, not modified. Probably $180,000. It doesn't have the bone across the back, so that pulls the value down. Otherwise, it'd be $250,000. Mach 1, I want one. If you shop carefully, you can get one for $20,000 in good shape. Not shaped like this, but in good shape driver. I had this exact Cadillac when I was a kid, paid $50 for it. San Francisco, we used to go to the Mission District and buy $50 to $200 cars all the time, drive them until the wheels fell off, which was about a month. So I had one of these, and indeed, the suspension fell apart in a turn. Baby birds aren't bringing the money at all anymore. This thing probably was worth $50,000 30 years ago. Now it went for $34,000. They're just not bringing the dollars anymore. The market's saturated with them. There we go. Flatheads. I like flatheads. They race these flatheads. Offenhauser heads. Flatheads are a big thing. Rebuilding them to modern specs. They don't make the horsepower because that's just the nature of their design. But they're very popular. And people do some fun things with them. I would, if my next couple of cars that I'm goof around with, I'd like a flathead, and I've kind of got an urge to start doing something with a rotary engine. They're making some pretty good progress with the rotary engines. They still don't last, but their horsepower per size is great. Now, I'm a Studebaker fan. I've had a lot of Studebakers. They made a good car. The story of their demise is sad. Ford destroyed them deliberately. Speaking of Ford, there's an old Ford right there. Convertible too. They'll get some money for this. Sport Fury, had one of those. So if I'm not mistaken, the dashboard of this Studi is a very cool looking dashboard. Yeah, it is. All machine tooled. Another thing you won't believe the value on, Volkswagen buses. It's easy to hit $250,000 on a Volkswagen bus. This one's probably, this isn't special, it's not a Vanagon. It's in really good shape. It's probably about 25 grand. Barracuda, first year I think, Barracuda. Now, everybody knows the Cobra, but it's not an original. And that's because there are no originals on the market. All the originals are in warehouses, undercover, being kept for investment value. But even the kit cars, like this one, you don't get under 100,000. So his is more like what I like. Lincoln. Now it's Cadillac, probably a V12. These are the kind of cars I like. New top. Corvettes this generation don't bring much money. Yeah, $7,500. Those are Craigslist cars. I had that Jaguar, liked it too, had a V12 in there. Crashed head on into a Ford F-250. She came right through a red light, straight at me. These things are these are bringing big dollars, like 75 grand. And they're very popular around here. Square trucks, again. Square trucks are popular. The 56s, 57 Chevys, I've never been a fan of. There are just too many of them. Market saturation, the prices are lower now, probably in the 40,000 range. And there were 40,000 40 years ago. Just too many on the market. Prowler. Problem with the Prowler is they don't have air conditioning. 34,000. Not enough room under the hood. Baby Bird. And we call them stovetop because the taillights look like the burners on a stove. Now, you could entice me with this Corvette with the top off. I think it's ugly with the top on, but with the top off, it's a gorgeous car. Want it in black. Datsun Z-Car. Another Charger, more Mopar muscle. Another low-value Corvette. Another low-value Mercedes. Moderate value Corvette, that's probably 14,000. Another Cobra knockoff. BMW Z-Car. Those aren't bringing money. Jeeps bring money. Let's see what this thing went for. 19,000. It's a good price. highest resale value of any car on the used car market. Cheap Wrangler 2-doors. International Harvester pickup. That would be fun. 23,000. Another Bronco here. Nothing special about this one, and it's a later. Went for 44,000. Once they get into the 80s, they don't have as much value. Another Prowler, sold for 30,000. Old Comet, Mercury Comet. Clean, yeah. 30 grand. I want to show you this over here. This is a 560 SL, but around Scottsdale area where we are right now, the old 450 SL, and I've had a couple of them, are still very, very popular. There's a kind of a status symbol, even though it's a $5,000 car. Kind of a status symbol. And they were the last of the hand-built Mercedes. Who I can't wait to get over to that Lincoln Imperial over there. They were the last of the hand-built Mercedes. Mercedes stopped being hand-built in 1972. And that's the cutoff date for when I have any interest in them. Everyone recognizes the Trident. So let's see how much it went for. 35,000. So Maserati is no longer a nice name. There's Bentley. That's a nice name. 27,000. Another Maserati. They're owned by Chrysler, which means they're owned by Fiat, and there's just nothing special to them. The interior is the same as the Chrysler 200. Just not a big deal. That black Cadillac there, I had one of those. 1949, pushed the tail light in, put the gas in. 2-speed automatic transmission, went for 24,000. That's what they were selling for 50 years ago. Not popular. The old Cadillacs aren't popular. There's another, the old SL Mercedes. Popular. They'll probably get 10 grand for that. Rolls Royce, not popular. That Chevy next to it probably get more money than the Rolls Royce. $18,000 for a brake job on a Rolls Royce. This Porsche right here I had, scary fast. It's actually has a Mercedes V8 up front. Call it the Land Shark because it looks like a shark, and it is quick, and it's the only Porsche that's a luxury car. Porsches are sports cars. By the way, it's not Porsche, none of the factory, it's Porsche. He has the swamp cooler on his VW Bug. Very nifty. '64 Lincoln Continental. I really want one. Convertible. 40,000. Decent price. But it's fresh paint. New interior, so it's okay. It's not a deal, it's not a steal. More Mopar. IH Scout. Square truck. Another Baby Bird, white. They weren't fast cars, but they were sexy for their time, 50s. I had a friend who started Bank of San Francisco, and he had one of those, and he was only in his 60s, and he sold his house without moving out, including his Baby Bird, and the buyer couldn't have them until he died, which was like 15 years later. And he was the first person I knew of to do a deal like that, so he got the money up front, he got to enjoy the money. And by the time he died and people took possession, they probably had a house worth double the value because he had to maintain it all that time. Bronco. BMW Isetta. So the entire front opens, steering wheel is attached, the entire front of this Isetta opens up, and that's how you get in and out of it. That is the door. They've got it open, and when you open it, the steering column swings out. There's a Porsche Boxster. I had one of these, and 11,000. Frightfully fast, 3.2 liter. Really, really crazy fast car, and very hard to get in and out. Another Studebaker. Military wannabe. Fun. Maserati. VW bugs are coming back. The original air-cooled old guys are coming back on the scene. Oh yeah, nice restoration here.
See what they did with this? They put a new dash, new interior, old seats with a new motor.
All modernized interior here. Well, that must be a Ford. I don't recognize it, but it must be a Ford because that's the Ford V8 logo on the grill. It is. It's a Ford custom truck, 1948. Rolls Royce. Silver Cloud. No value. Tricked out. Take it to the drag strip. There's a pile of junk right there. You're asking for grief if you buy that. Lamborghini, first one we've seen today. Lambos are popular. So this is from the Corvair family. GM Corvair family. It's called a Corvair 95. 27,000. I had one of these. I had a 64.5. My zoom keeps playing funny things. It's tracking the people. There we go. I had a 64.5 Mustang convertible. I bought it for $500. Rebuilt the engine in it. Jag E-Type. You gotta love them. I can't get in them. My legs don't fit. I'm way too tall. Very popular car, $250,000. Go through brakes by the time you get out of the parking lot. Chevy Nomad had one of those. Kids' car. Nowhere near as popular now as they were, 30 years ago when they were a fad. I have to find the feature on this camera setting that keeps changing my zoom. People walk by. Another Prowler. Don't recall seeing so many Prowlers before. Ford Woody. Nice. Nicely done. Still has a sliding window on the back. And the original. Yeah, it's got the original tail. Very nice. They're going to get some money off of this guy. So the lower portion drops down, and this right here flips up and locks into place. And the idea right there is this flips up, you put your surfboards in there. That's how you do it. Matching boat and camper. So that's a boat on the top. Buick Electra. Rarely see Buicks. They just didn't hold up in the collector market, so okay. Chrysler Imperial. I love Chrysler Imperials. I love the feature of the headlights sitting inside, recessed in their own pod. The dashboards are absolutely gorgeous on these cars. These were magnificent cars. They had so much going on. See it from the other side. And you're really not supposed to call them a Chrysler Imperial, because Imperial was a separate line. Push button transmission on the left side there. Looks like original interior. Huh. Yeah, 16,000 miles. Original interior. Nice Studebaker truck. Remember this? You can trust your car to the man with the star. Big, bright Texaco star. There, that'll take you back, huh? A Duster. When these came out, there were 20,000, no, 20,000, there were 2,000, 2,200, something like that. Now they are hot because they're still a cheap car, plastic car, funky interior, but they're Mopar, and Mopar just brings the money. It's not even a big horsepower engine, but it'll sell for a big number. Here we go again with the 450 SL, 4.5 liter that are so popular around here, but they don't bring the dollars. I had mine, a lot of overheating problems with those engines, and the heads warp and all kinds of problems, but I was a trained Mercedes mechanic, so I took care of that kind of stuff. Now here's something. This is a Maybach, and a Maybach is a high dollar car. Today it's a high dollar car. You know, the $500,000 car competes against the likes of Bentley. But whoever's trying to sell this thing, they don't have it inside where the big money is, and they didn't even spend $10 to get the headlight covers buffed out. So it's hard to figure what somebody's just tired of it, wants to get rid of it. Hard to figure. Square truck, I had this one. It was a pretty good truck. Problem with the Chevy trucks is the cabs are too tight compared to the Ford trucks, and I'm tall. That's going to bring some money. A Dodge Power Wagon. All done over. I don't even want to guess. Don't even want to guess. I would think 75,000. Yeah, interior's been gone through. It's even got the signals show up from the back. That's done properly. Winch up there. Looks like original engine. It is the original engine, or it's the right engine anyway. Oil bath air filter. So the air filter is full of oil instead of a paper element, and then it breathes through the oil. 53 Power Wagon pickup. Oh, this was owned by Tom Selleck. Comes with a photo of Selleck with the truck. Price just went up a lot. So here's a $250,000 VW Bug. See all those windows at the top? And these front windows come out toward me and lock in place. $250,000. 23, call it a 23 window. Tremendously pursued vehicle. Very, very popular vehicle. There we go with the Lincoln convertible. I had a buddy, Bruce Porter. He was a Marine Knight Ace, 5-time ace. Books are written about him and all that. And cool guy. Bruce would go to parades and he'd sit up on the back of a car just like this to wave at everyone. Sounds good. 5.7 Hemi. Sounds good. Another great year Corvette. These cars were not fast either. They're faster than the T-Birds. It's between two baby birds, but they weren't really very fast. T-Bird convertible 63, I'm guessing. I had one like this, 62. Yeah, it's absolutely a horror show of hydraulics and relays, how they did the trunk and top to get it to function. Another Carmen Ghia, an Alfa Romeo. Still very popular in Europe. Alfa Romeos. I've had 4 Spider Veloces Metropolitan. That used to be a $50 car. And another SL and another Stang 289. Got 20,000 for it. Like I said, the value on these isn't there anymore. Just been done to death. Challenger. Money. Somebody went to town. Looks like a Lincoln. It's a Ford. Business Custom Coupe. Another 23 window, and demonstrating how the windows open up front. Custom paint on this Tesla. That's unusual. First hot rod we've seen, I think. Jimmy. When the government took over General Motors, they got rid of Oldsmobile and Pontiac, and they said, and get rid of GMC. And General Motors said, no, you don't understand. All we do is put a different label on it and get another $10,000. And the government said, keep the GMC. So that's why you still see Jimmys. Passed by a lot of cars already because they were all the same, more of the same. Same Corvettes, the same Mustangs and like that. But this is the first DeSoto that we've seen, and I grew up driving 50s vintage DeSotos, monstrous huge cars, a lot of fun. And legendary Packard. What would life be without Packards? Such beautiful, elegant cars. They cheaped out at the very end, but they were financially hurting and got acquired and cheaped out. This is not a fancy one, but still, it's a Packard. Old Dodge Monaco cop car with the gumball machine on the roof. Didn't bring a high price, $12,000. I don't know if the Monacos have any collector value at all. Fully operational red roof, beacon, and siren. Cool. And who knows what somebody was trying to do here, because these are actual holes that are punched into it. They're making a Sopranos car. Original, no, it's the original movie car. In that case, original Sopranos TV series car. All these bullet holes. But why would you have bullet holes going downward into a hood? Sold for only $13,000. Mirrors broken off. Blast cap wiring used to. Ferrari. Can't go wrong with a Ferrari. Plastic bumper is showing signs of cracking. Unavoidable.
Okay, and we'll see about putting something together.
Toyota Land Cruiser, legendary good vehicle.
You got it. Awesome. Thanks, Grant. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Other 2.8, my car.
We should be down here.
Now this is something you don't see every day. An old Ford tractor that they dropped a flathead in. Fits nice too. Bolted right up. What a kick. Brand new tires. See, that's a fun project. 1950 custom tractor. It says that conversion was common. And the way it has bolted up, I can understand why. Well, it sure is clean. Very, very clean. And they got the V8 logo on the steering wheel. I like it. That'd be fun to drive. Legendary car, GTO, called a GOAT, with 3 deuces. You can get 400 horsepower out of this thing if you do it right. And I know that because we used to race them and blow the transmissions up. And here's a new model Bronco. They've only been on the road for a year. And this one's been customized. So I don't know why it's here. Smokey and a Bandit right there. 21 custom Bronco. May not be emission compliant in all 50 states, which means don't buy this if you live in California. These Trans Ams are not pulling in the money like they used to. That's a Challenger you're hearing and not hearing. Modern hot rod roadster. An identical Trans Am, 50 feet from the one I just showed you, and the problem is if you're going to sell these things at auction and you don't pay for a reserve and then a couple of them show up. I was here once when 8 baby birds went on the auction block and they were going for like $8,000 each because there were just a glut of them. So this guy, the other guy I just filmed, they might have thought they'd have the only one of these and they're going to get a high price. Now there's more than one and their price just went way down. I've gone past a lot of cars and let me tell you, if you're going to be in this game, you have to understand the game. And the number of baby birds I've seen here, the number of Corvettes, the number of SLs tells me that the investor collectors that'll buy a car and put it in a warehouse for 5 years for it to appreciate, they're getting rid of their inventory of the non-performers, like those baby birds. They've been done to death and they're selling their inventory. Get rid of it. Here's a Javelin. I just got rid of one of these Mine was gorgeous. Had a 401 in it. It was nicer than this one. I picked it up in Georgia and drove it back. Flew out, bought it, drove it back home. So anyway, the investors have, you know, they have assets that just aren't moving, so they're getting rid of them, put something else in there that will appreciate in value. I'm thinking, I've seen a couple more of the new Broncos. I'm thinking these guys are trying to ride on the fad of the old Broncos being valuable, and so people will buy the new ones. But the new ones are now common. There's an original 56, I think, original Corvette. They were ugly, underpowered, but they ushered in 54. They ushered in the modern Corvette. Real bare bones. There you go. Once again, more my style. So this is an Auburn, and it's going to bring in so much money. Vacuum operated windshield wiper. To make it work, you'd pull this little knob out, and that would open the vacuum into the motor. Nice Stingray. Those will bring money. Stingrays will still bring money. See, another one. That's maybe the 10th I've seen. So there's a message being sent. When you get that many of the same car, there's a message being sent. There's the one I want right there. Boss 351. This Camaro, I bought one of these brand new off the dealer floor, which is something I rarely do. But when it came out, I bought one new. And it was such a boring car to drive. I sold it in less than a year. It was just, I don't know. It was boring. Nothing special about it at all. Big supercharger there. So I traded that Mustang convertible I had long ago, the 64.5, to get one of these, a 396 Super Sport. Got a speeding ticket in it. It's a very fast car. Got a speeding ticket in it going down the Grapevine, California Grapevine, and they got me as a fast car. And I probably wasn't doing much. I was probably doing 75 or something, but they got me. Anything interesting up here? No. This old Rambler station wagon, I had one of these, and I taught my aunt, who was 19 years older than me, I taught her how to drive. In it, I think I was 16. Very anemic car. I don't know if this is an American or an Ambassador. Get back here and find out. It's cross country. Custom. Crank down window. So this folds up and crank down the window. Very low horsepower, but reliable. Rambler made decent cars. They just weren't fancy, and they weren't supposed to be. They were a family car. I had several. First kit car I've seen today from the Gazelle kit car collection. 4-cylinder. Don't know what it's built on. Might have been built on a Pinto. Traditional kit car. The problem with these is if they're not titled, and he doesn't have a license plate on it, if they're not titled, it can be a monster to get them titled. Jimmy doesn't want to start. All right, I've lost count. Something's going on. They're selling all the same year Corvette. That definitely means that the price has topped and the investors are getting out. I don't follow the Corvette guys, so I'm not hip to it, but I do know when I start seeing that kind of number all for sale at the same auction that people are sweeping out the dust, making room for new toys. Now, these things were real sleepers because they had a lot of horsepower. It has a 440 engine in it. Cross ram dual. I wish the hood was open so you could see what that cross ram does. Nicely redone interior, push button transmission. I would be happy to buy this car. Land Rover, piece of junk. One of the least reliable vehicles made. Another Boss 301 or 351. Something's going on with those too, because that's about the fifth one I've seen. And somebody had some fun with a tea bucket. One of the most popular cars to turn into a hot rod. I can hear the auctioneer now. Getting closer, can hear the auctioneer. Good Humor Man. Didn't Red Skelton, the comedian, do a movie, Good Humor Man? It was the Fuller Brush Man. Oh, that was a long time ago. A newer Dodge Power Wagon. That'll sell. These vintage of the Chevy trucks, that's going to sell real quick. I bet it's got a whole new bed plank, wood plank interior, and it does. This is a kit you can buy and install on these things. I want mine original if I get one of those.
So
those are called velocity stacks. They get the air moving faster into the intake. Classic old Bentley. You better have a big budget if you're going to own one of those. So this is pure American graffiti. Old Ford Roadie with flathead V8. Basically no exhaust pipes at all. And one thing interesting about the flatheads, now there's 4 cylinders on this side, and each side it's a V8, and only 3 exhaust pipes, because the middle one shared an exhaust port. One of the reasons they're not that fast is that it would fight the other cylinder to get the exhaust gas out. .442 Cutlass, Olds Cutlass, had one of those, crashed it. Another Isetta BMW with an oil leak under the motor, no surprise. Certainly the oldest original that we've seen today, $12,000. Good price. Crank start. 27. I had a 29 Model T. No, I had, sorry, Model A. I had a Model A. This is a T. So that means it has 3 pedals down there, and it does. That's a pretty good price. 12 grand. Somebody got a good deal. Death car though. No front brakes. Well, that antique vintage age might have just been beaten. Yep, it's 22. See the phone number? 4. Sweet. Ford. What a beauty. Rumble seat. And another Trans Am. So yeah, just no question, people are clearing out their investment. Been wanting one of these forever. 1956 Continental. 56 was the year they reintroduced the Continental. They didn't have a 54, 55. And I really like them. I don't know about this paint job that somebody did, but the lines on this car are just beautiful. Real pretty car. Love to have one. Looks like original engine, but they've done some work. Added air conditioning. And certainly didn't have all that performance stuff on it. And yet again, so if you pay them, they'll come out and they'll wash and detail your car while it's parked out here. There's the Cutlass I crashed. I didn't total it, just smashed up a fender. It was my mom's. She crashed it later on and totaled it. Now we've moved into our, and this is an entire different category of cars. These are the cars. These are the money. So I was talking about the big bone on the back of the Roadrunner. Here we have a couple of them in their own little area. That's because these could be $500,000. They've gone as much as $1 million. 426 Hemi. I rode around Arizona at 16 years old in one of these things. Didn't think much of it. But anyway, these cars they're the ones. These are the big money items. And they go on and on and on and on. Then I might run out of memory on the phone, which is a shame. But I might, because I've done so many clips and I have other videos on here, and people like to stand in the middle of the floor and not let anybody else get by. Of course, they have special lighting in here that really shows them off well. Impala over there, Impala with a detailed trunk. The nicest of the nice. Oh yeah. Stingray over there. Various vendors, hot tubs. New Lincolns. They're very nice. Antique radios, not reproductions. Want to buy a model of your favorite car? It'll be here. Putting a invisible bra on it. Nice pontoon boat. Very nice pontoon boat. Huge, enormous engine on that thing.
You have a screen protector on your phone?
Money, money, money. always money. It's a rich man's world. That's a Sea Ray. Boy, you wouldn't expect that to be powered by outboards, but it is. Mercury's at that. Very surprising. Helicopter. These guys are, they're not selling helicopters, they're selling the modified, what they call a glass panel inside the controls. So I'm surprised, far more vendors inside than cars. Usually it's almost all cars with vendors on the periphery. And today it's much more. In fact, I haven't even seen the motorcycles. There's always an entire section of motorcycles. There's much more vendors. They are moving Corvettes today. Staggering number of Corvettes. Look at them all. It's amazing. That's just got to hurt. There's another one really nice, really clean. That's just got to hurt the sale value. Like I say, if they didn't put a reserve on these things, they're going to be so sorry. I saw it happen once when I was talking about the baby birds, and they all sold for about $8,000. They were behind the curtains. The original owner was behind the curtains, offering the buyers like $10,000, $15,000 cash to buy it back because they were taking such a loss at that price because they hadn't put reserves on them. But a reserve costs about 15%. It's a lot of money to put a reserve on a car. So you're rolling the dice. Will you be the only one with a particular Corvette here? Odds are no. Here's another 56 Lincoln that's been really done up, lowered. Beautiful. Not what I would want to do with it, especially two speakers in the package tray in the back. But you know, each to their own. Same thing with this Caddy. Now this is what I'm talking about. Packard. Beautiful. Beautiful car. That's a LaSalle, later on to become Cadillac. This is a Cadillac. Gorgeous cars. Yeah, beautiful. No reserve. Wow. But it's only going to be a one of a kind. And only serious bidders are going to go after that. So, not too worried. This is all from one estate collection. I'd say he had a nice collection.
Oh, when you owned it? You had to have a pretty big car.
Rolls Royce, yeah. With wickerwork side. K-Series Mercedes. Very collectible. See a lot of these in reproductions. 540K. But to see a real one, it's unusual. Harris Car Collection, used to see them all the time. And a Bugatti. Some of the most beautiful cars in the world to this day. The most powerful cars in the world to this day. The Bugattis. Works of art. And just past this modern Bugatti here, what would the show be without a 300 SL Cold Wing? One of the most well-known classic cars. And I can't fit in it. The 190 is identical with typical hinge doors instead of gold wing doors. I can't fit in the darn things. But they are pretty and they were fast. 3 liter. And that's it for Barrett-Jackson 2024. There's a lot more to see, but I've seen what I came to see, and I'm not interested in the rest of it. So this is going to wrap it up. People are flooding in. The real heavy auctioning bidding doesn't go on until about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight, and it's usually televised. So it's one of these earth roamers. Man, that thing's a monster. Take them anywhere. Go into the deepest parts of the world. Go through Africa. Take them anywhere. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. And who knows if I'll see you next year.